Good afternoon, good evening, rather, for those of you that are watching here um, on the west coast of Africa. I know that there are some folks that are here in Ghana that are watching, so greetings to you guys. Um, to my good friends also there in on the east coast in the United States, uh, good afternoon. It should be like minutes after 12 right now. To my family and my friends in Costa Rica, good morning to you guys. And to everybody on the west coast of the United States also. Good morning to you guys. So, this is my first live streaming. Um, I've reported on the news when I was in Costa Rica and the United States. I've uploaded hundreds of videos on platforms, but I have never, ever done a live streaming. So this is my very first live streaming. I don't know how it's gonna go, but we'll see. And the other thing is basically what I want to do this evening, morning, afternoon, is to share my experience with moving to Ghana. And please don't look at the clothes behind me. That's one of the things that that is done. And we do it sometimes in the United States too, right? We just hang the clothes out in the yard. When I'll do it back home in Costa Rica. But anyways, um, I want to share my experience as to the relocation, the moving, and everything else to Ghana. I know that I have been on checking out some groups on Facebook and even on TikTok where people ask questions about moving to Ghana specifically, and they sometimes don't get the right answer. So I hope that whatever I can share of my experience, it might enlighten somebody as to what they can do, how they should go about doing certain things. And basically, I just want to start from the beginning, right? One of the things that, well, the first step is to do your research. I remember that in one of my videos, I did say that one of the things, the very most important thing that you have to do before you relocate anywhere is to do your research. And hold on one second because I told my sister, I told my sister that she should check all the three channels to see if it's live. I know it's on my end, it says live. Let me see, what does it say? Playing. Yeah, so it's live. Um, but you go live and you don't know. So my sister's my little monitor. So Odette, if you can, if you're watching, if you can hear me, send me a WhatsApp to let me know. And you know what? Let me tell you something. I remember back in 2019 when I came for the first time to Ghana. I saw a lot of guys with this towel thing, face towel, and they were like, because it's hot, right? And you sweat. And so they were like, wiping their faces and all of that stuff. And I thought that, wow, I mean, you rarely see that even in the summer in the United States. And I don't know, I thought it was a little bit feminine. I don't want to say gay, but, you know, uh, and and I remember being told that I needed to use one of these because it's hot. You sweat a lot. And I said, hey, me? Where? Used it? Heck no, right? Well, here I am using it. What I used to do before I decided to use one of it, I used to go like this, right? And just wipe the sweat off my face. But I learned very quickly that, then you walk around with a lot of sweat all over your chest. But, anyways, I sidetrack a little bit. Um, so, research is like the very most important thing. It is during your research that you ask all and every question that you can think of. that is one thing that I know that I did. I mean, I did research to the point where I even almost knew some of the letters. I don't know it now. Of the Ghanaian national anthem. That's how far and how deep my research went. That has maybe nothing to do with moving to the country, but I just felt that I needed to know everything about the place that I was gonna call home, and I just went very deep into learning a little bit about the country, the language, the languages, and everything else. So do your research, but during your research, you should learn about the economics, the financial situation, the cultural situation, the demographics here in Ghana, which is very diverse and extensive. So you want to learn all of those things. The next thing that you want to do after you did your research and after you got 99 answers of your thousands of questions, you want to actually spend some time in Ghana. You want to, if you are planning to move to Ghana, and this is true with any. It doesn't matter where. You could move like right next door, like right across the street from wherever you live right now. You want to spend some time in the place where you are going to live, right? So you want to book that flight. You want to reserve your hotel. You may not know anybody, and coming to Ghana or coming to the place where you intend to reside, even if it's for a year, even if it's for a while, where you intend to reside, it is that moment that you perhaps can make friends, make acquaintances, so that when you finally decide to make the move, you won't be on the limbo kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And so, because what I'm telling you is what I did. Now, with me, it was a little bit different, also because when I came to Ghana, I came already knowing somebody. I came with a friend, a coworker, who invited me here, and it is in the course of all of that that things happen. I met someone, and my wife, and she's not here now. She's running errands, so she's running errands. I think she's in Kaswa right now. We are in Dodowa. That, by the way, I forgot to even mention this at the beginning. I should have said, right now I am in Dodowa. If you are familiar more or less with Ghana, with Accra, the greater region or eastern region, I don't know. Sometimes I get confused where I am. But but I'm in Dodowa, and next live video that I do, hoping that my wife won't be running errands. So the thing is, you want to come, right? You want to make sure that you physically come before you do anything. Before you do anything, because, and this is another thing that I find in some of the groups, is that people are having problems afterwards with having come with purchasing land, buying a home, a car, and things like that. And I think it's because they didn't do their proper research, if they did any research. And I also believe that they just went under limbo. And when you are planning to invest your money, and I'm not a financial expert or anything like that, but the little knowledge that I have, when you are planning to invest your money, one of the first things that you do is that you research where you are going to invest your money, where you're going to put that dime, right? And I think that a lot of people are going through a lot of problems as I read and view the different groups on social media. That is because they failed to do the very important thing, which is to ask questions before, to do some legwork. And so that's one thing that you want to do. You want to actually come to the place where you are going to reside, uh, continue your research, right? This is like research part two, where you continue to ask questions, where you verify that what you've the information that you gathered prior to traveling, that you want to verify that that information is true and correct, right? You want to do that, and just try to make connections, just try to establish a network. That should be the second most important thing that you do before you even decide to, okay, I'm going to come to Ghana, I'm going to go and buy a piece of land, build a house and everything else, uh, at East Legon or wherever. So that's the process that I did. Of course, there are always problems, there are always difficulties, there's always something. But that's the process that I did, which lessened the negative impact that I would experience. Right. Okay. So let us go back a little bit, and in time, when the decision was made. Okay. So I moved to Ghana, then got married, kids, and da 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 da. Moved to the United States, right? So moved to the United States, everything da da da, going fine, but government, blah, blah, the financial situation, blah 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 blah. Decide that we're gonna move now. Even though, listen to this carefully, even though I had already lived in Ghana, did some research that first time that I was gonna move here, right? Even though I had already done that, when my wife and I decided that, well, you know what, we're going to relocate back to Ghana, guess what? I did a little bit more research. Now, if back then I didn't know anything, and even though I knew something now, I had to update whatever information I had before, right? And so that meant that I had to do my little research. And actually, before I so we finally came in last December, just this December, this past December. We finally came back, right? And as it turned out, before we actually moved, I had been coming last year. I traveled to Ghana, I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 times in one year, which would mean that this December would have been maybe like the fourth time. And all of that just because I wanted to make sure that when we finally made the move, that things were in place, that I wasn't fully, completely, totally depending on somebody else's opinion, somebody else's thoughts, that I had my ducks in a row, so that the family could come, right? So I'm fanning because I have food out here and I'll be eating in a minute. So you are invited, like the Ghanaians would say, when I start eating, you are invited, even though I'm not going to share it with you, right? um, so the thing is that I came back to Ghana last year like 3 times, 2 times, something like that, making sure that everything was in place, because you just don't want to get up. It doesn't matter if you've been to a place 100 million times. You're gonna decide, okay, now this is the time that I'm gonna move. You don't want to just get up and boom go, right? You don't know what might happen. You don't Things change. Things are very fluid nowadays, right? Tonight you go to bed, and tomorrow you wake up and wow, they arrest your president, take him somewhere. I mean, this is just how things are nowadays, right? Anyways, I digress again. So we started packing, and I know in one of the videos I showed you the photos, the pictures of of how the house was messy and all of that stuff, with all the boxes and stuff all around. So we started to pack and you know take things to the Goodwill, and even to the dumps. Make sure that we are keeping the stuff that we are going to actually need. And by the way, before I forget, let me tell you something. You're planning to move to Ghana, anywhere in Africa, and quite frankly, even if you're planning to move to Europe, I have a big advice and a big advice for you. Do not purchase any electronics from the United States and ship to Ghana. And I'm going to talk about shipment in a minute. We have a fantastic guy that we work with, Frank. Fantastic dude who do all of our shipping or shipment. But anyways, do not buy electronics in the United States and ship it to Ghana because there is a plethora of steps that you're going to have to go through in order to make it work. It's not. It has nothing to do with tariffs. It has nothing to do with customs and getting it through. It has nothing to do with that. And I'm going to tell you just briefly because I want to continue. I have you can't see it, but right down here I have a list things steps to follow. But we bought a fantastic, wonderful smart TV, big TV. Hey, like I gotta say, hey, right? And because it's in the United States we use what 110 V's, right, volts, right? We use 110. Here in Ghana they use 230, 240. And so what you have to do, you have to actually buy what they call, I never knew this, right? But you have to buy what they call a step down. So what a step down is by basically an electrical regulator. That's what it is. I think they call it they have another name for it. I don't know. But it's basically that's what it is. It regulates the current that is coming through. So at one end you feed it with 230 or 240 volts, but it comes out at the other end at 110. And there's no problem with that, right? But the thing that I notice is that sometimes when the light flickers, when the light blinks, that smart TV goes out. Doesn't matter if it getting 110 volts, it goes out. And then you have to it's on a, how they call it, a guard. The guard is like a surge kind of thing for us in the states, but the guard, you plug the TV into the guard that is plugged into the wall unit, and what that does is that when the light goes out and come back on, it doesn't blow out the fuses and whatever it is that is in the electronics. So the thing is, to save yourself a big ton of headache, just don't buy any electronics in the States and bring them to Africa. You may very well be well off if you save that money and come here to Ghana and buy whatever electronics you want. Yeah, it might be a little bit more expensive. It might be a little bit cheaper. I don't know. Depends on what the market is at the time, but you will save yourself a ton of headache. Anyways, I digress. The packing. So you want to, so we pack a lot of things, and what we did is that we shipped these electronics with some furnitures and things like this thing. This swing that I'm here on, my wife bought it and we shipped it with this trampoline and some swimming pool and some furniture and some other stuff. And you want to make sure that you use the right type of boxes. The box type that I used was 15, how they call it, 15 something, thick, strong. You want to use thick or strong, or you want to use I have some those blue barrels. I don't know if you guys ever seen those big blue barrels, 55 gallons. It can hold a lot of things in there. Either the thick barrels or the the I'm sorry, either the thick boxes or the tall barrels, 55 gallons, to protect the things that you want to ship. Because if you don't use and make sure that once, for example, even the barrels that are thick plastic, even those I wrap with the plastic that like saran wrap plastic, but the industrial one, I wrap it around. The boxes were very thick, 15 points. I don't know what they call it. I wrap those really good so that the things that are inside, the items that are inside of them, can be somewhat protected. We had no problem. We've been using Frank, I don't know how long, long time, maybe 2 years, I don't know, and we have never had any problems with our items being broken or anything. And so after while we were doing all of this packaging and all of that stuff, we decided, remember, we did the research. I had traveled already to Ghana like twice last year before actually moving last month. And we decided while the packing was going on in October or so, September, that we bought the tickets. We bought the tickets. We got some fairly good prices. I don't know if I should say, but anyways, I use Hopper or Just Fly, and I get good tickets. We travel. Um, I'm gonna make a suggestion, and let me tell you something before I can make this suggestion. Let me see if my sister ever. She didn't text me. I'm gonna call her and see why she's not texting me. Give me 1 second, folks, because she is not texting me. But anyways, the travel. I have to say this. I have to say this because it's important to me, and it was important to my family. So of course she's not answering now. Anyways, so she's probably laughing at me. So so the travel. I try to use Air Maroc. I'm going to tell you why. I have traveled a lot to different places. I've been to different airports in Europe, in East Africa, and of course, Central North America. But anyways, give me 1 second, folks. I gotta stay right there. What? What? Okay. So, that was a commercial. So I use Air Maroc because, and oh, this is what I was gonna say before I say that. I am not sponsored by anybody, not Air Maroc, not the Hopper, nobody. But because of the service but because of my experience, which was good, and I will only share my good experiences with you. I'm not gonna share my bad experiences because what's the point, except to maybe tell you, stay away from X, Y, and Z. But because I had good experiences, I am telling you that if you can travel Air Maroc, by all means, travel Air Maroc. That's the Moroccan airline. So, as it turns out, and this was the second time that we stayed there, we got to Casablanca, and because of what was going on, the Afcon, if you don't, if the Afcon is in play right now, I think, and we traveled in the middle of the Afcon games or events, in Morocco because that's where the AFCON is holding its championship this year. And the AFCON is the African something something of soccer. That's like the Premier League or something like that. The UEFA. And because of what was going on at the time, so and because my wife is traveling with the Ghanaian with her Ghanaian passport, we she couldn't leave the airport, right? And so we wanted to leave the airport, but because of that, we couldn't. And so what happened is that right there at the airport, if you have a 4 hour or more connection, there is a lounge that free that you can go and get some rest. And I thought that that was, I mean, every airport has lounges, right? For 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 VIPs, right? Every airport has VIPs, but we are not even VIPs, right? We are not even EPVs or all the letters of the alphabet, right? But at in Casablanca at the Moroccan airport, international airport, Mohammed, I forgot the name, Mohammed something. They have a place where any traveler, any traveler that is that have 4 or more hours layover can go and get some rest. And not only that, let me tell you what else. You go there to get some rest, but they also feed you for free. Just gonna let that sink in. They feed you for free. Yeah, don't when you go down to the like it's not a basement, but when you go down to the basement, it's not a basement. It is really not a basement, but when you go down to the last floor, you so there's a lady, an attendant there. She take your passport and your ticket. No, she take your ticket. I'm sorry. She takes your ticket. If it was four of us traveling. She took all four tickets and plane tickets, and she issued a voucher for each one, and that voucher gives you whatever to go upstairs where the restaurants are, and get whatever you want free. You don't have to pay a peso here in Ghana, a penny in the United States, a centimo in Costa Rica. You don't have to pay anything. So you get free cots. The beds is not beds; they are cots. If you know, they are cots that you can lay. And we were so blessed because this lady, man, there's a lady that works there. She is like the concierge, and she made sure that my family and I had two beds because usually it's just one bed, but because there were four of us and two kids, my not four of us and two kids, but it was four of us in all, my wife and I and two girls. She made sure that we had two beds where my wife and one of the kids and me and one of the kids were able to lay. And it was superb. And I am like, wow, I've of all the travels that I've done, I never knew. Maybe there is an airport somewhere out there that provides this same assistance to the passengers, but I have not come across any. So I just wanted to tell you guys about that. And when we got here, so we had a layover of 15 hours, and that's why. And this is the other thing, right? So we got there, I don't know what time, and we went and got our first voucher to eat, right? I'm talking about Casablanca, at the Mohammed International Airport. And then, when it was that, let's say that was lunch, or no, it was breakfast. Let's say it was breakfast. So when it was lunchtime, we went and got another voucher for lunch. When it was dinner time, we went and got another voucher for dinner. And then it was time to leave, right? To go and catch our flight.